Welcome to Joke Story Chick Live with Michael Kent. I'm him. Let's go. Oh my gosh, welcome to Tuesday night, everyone. So happy you're watching tonight. Take a minute to share this feed to your Facebook or your Twitter. Ask your friends to watch with you tonight. I've got Matt Dillahunty on the show, and he will be here in just a little bit. We'll be here to talk with him. Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy week, and it should be live on YouTube, Jacob Horton. We should be live on, well, we're maybe about 10 seconds behind on YouTube. But no, it's 3 seconds behind on YouTube. Very close. In any case, it's been a crazy week. First and foremost, I'm sure by now everyone has heard that Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all counts. I try to keep this show pretty lighthearted. I don't get into the weeds on politics much anymore on this show anyway, but I just have to say it feels like finally a little bit of justice has been done. We're also conditioned to expect bad police to get away with it lately over the last few years. It feels good to see it go the right way for once. Of course, the right way would be for none of this to be necessary in the first place, but let's just say guilty, guilty, guilty. Congratulations, jury. You have earned one of these. Today, I became fully vaccinated, as did our guest. And well, actually, we'll be fully vaccinated in 2 weeks when it takes full effect. But we got our second shots today, which is awesome. Because I went on the road last weekend. I can't wait to feel like I have a little bit more protection now when I'm traveling. I did a whole show on Saturday with a mask on in Chicago. That was an experience. I was like sucking the mask into my mouth the whole time. It did go well, though. And Chris Morrow says congrats on the second shot.
Ah, Chris.
And Josh says congrats also.
You're joshing me.
And he says welcome for joining. Welcome to the Pfizer Club, which is the best club. And I would tend to agree, having not compared it to anything else. I do have 2 more virtual shows this week as well. And also this week on my podcast, The Internet Says It's True. You can learn all about Frank Cannonball Richards, who is a performer who used to take a literal cannonball to the gut for fame and profit. Look for that wherever you get your podcasts or by going to theinternetsaysitstrue.com. Let's look at the chat here. The Real Jacob 98 says, you're good on YouTube now. I see it. Okay, what's up? And he says, what's up, Chris?
Chris.
So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you just joining the show for the first time tonight, I'm Michael Kent. This is The Stupid News. A man who tried to fight a grizzly bear in Banff National Park has been fined $4,000. More bad news. The bear won the fight and has now agreed to go up against Jake Paul. 7-Eleven is opening a drive-thru for quick Slurpees and tacos. Are you constipated and Taco Bell's not working for you anymore? Try a drive-thru taco from 7-Eleven. This is interesting. Scientists have described a dinosaur's butthole in exquisite detail. It's no joke, it's just interesting. An elderly woman was taken to the wrong house by an ambulance and tucked into a stranger's bed. Was it a mistake? Or was it part of the rollout of my new delivery app, DorisDash? An overdue library book was returned to a high schooler after being checked out for 32 years. The book title was Manners Make a Difference. Turns out the man was just a slow reader, and it took him that long to get to the chapter called Returning Borrowed Things. And finally, in Canada, a woman tried to dodge the city's curfew by walking her husband on a leash. The town has now been forced to institute a pick up your husband's poop law. Wives everywhere have one more place they have to clean up their husband's crap. This has been your Stupid News. Mitch says, where do I sign up for DoorDash?
Money making Mitch.
Andrew.
Anywho, if you're watching tonight on YouTube, please do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Also, make sure you click the bell next to it, and that way you'll never miss a show. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please do the same and follow me because every set of eyes helps, and I greatly appreciate it. Now, let's teach you how to magic.
Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. You ain't messing with my magic.
Go get your deck of cards. Right now, go get your deck of cards. Bring them to yourself. You're going to be able to do this trick anywhere there's a deck of cards. No special requirements or setups are necessary. You get the deck of cards, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. Check this out. This is a great trick. If you go to someone else's house and they have a deck of cards, it can be their deck. You can have them shuffle the cards in the beginning. Make sure that they're all well shuffled. All the cards are in a different order. And then you have them cut the deck. So they cut the deck to anywhere they want. And I can tell you, by looking at the fourth card on this stack, that the fourth card on this stack is the 3 of clubs. 1, 2, 3. 3 of clubs. So we'll do that again. We'll mix up these cards a little bit more. Have someone else cut the deck to anywhere they want. And then I look at the fourth card here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can tell you that the fourth card here is the ace of, let's say the 8 of spades. 1, 2, 3. 8 of spades. So we'll do it one last time. We'll mix these cards up. Have someone cut anywhere they want. And this time, I'm just going to put my hand over here. And by doing that, I can tell that the fourth card here is the 3 of hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, the 3 of hearts. I'm going to teach you how to do this. It is very easy, and you can do it with a borrowed shuffled deck. So you get the deck, you legitimately have someone shuffle it. And then here's the first step that you do secretly. You fan through the cards and you say, I just want to make sure that they are well mixed up. And when you're doing that, you are remembering the fourth card from the top. In this case, that card is the 4 of spades. And that's all you have to remember right now. 4 of spades. Put the deck back in, together. Have them cut anywhere they want. Now you know the fourth card down from what used to be the top right here is the 4 of spades. So this part, you just pick up 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you remember this card, the king of clubs, because that's going to be your next card, okay? You remember the king of clubs, keep that in your mind. And you say, I can tell by looking at the fourth card here that the fourth card here is the 4 of spades. And you count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of spades. Now you know the fourth card down here is the king of clubs. So you put this on top, and now you shuffle. But be careful, because when you shuffle, you want to make sure that you keep those top 4 cards on top. So now those cards are on top. You know the fourth card down is the king of, what was it, king of clubs? King of clubs, right? So now you have them cut the deck again. They cut the deck. You do the exact same process. You know the fourth card down here is the king of clubs. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. I can tell by the fourth card here, which we now know is the 2 of diamonds, that the fourth card here is the king of clubs. 1, 2, 3, 4. King of clubs. So now remember, we know the fourth card here is the 2 of diamonds. So you put that on top, and you do the same shuffle. You shuffle, but you keep those cards on top. Have them cut one more time. Now we know that 2 of diamonds is the fourth card here, and you really could go through the same process. You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, but if you want to get fancy, you can say I'm going to hold this like this and tell that the fourth card down here is the 2, and you go 1, 2, 3, 2 of diamonds. There it is, and that, my friends, is the trick, which means I have taught you how to magic.
Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. You ain't messing with my magic.
That's a pretty good trick for this show. That one I had not seen before. It's a little bit process intensive. There's a little bit of procedure with that one, but that's, I don't know, it's a pretty good trick. I just wanted to note that I do have a new sponsor for the show and for my podcast, The Internet Says It's True, and it's something some of you might get some use out of. I get asked on a weekly basis how I'm running my shows online between the transitions and backgrounds and graphics and sound. Here's the thing. If I told you what I'm using, it's not going to help much. There is a pretty substantial learning curve. That's where Virtual Presenter Course comes in. They have step-by-step instructions. It'll help turn your presentations into a virtual broadcast studio. For watching this show, you get 20% off. Just go to virtualpresentercourse.com/30 and you can learn how to do awesome presentations. Now it's time for a joke. One morning, an atheist was walking through a beautiful forest. He looked up and he saw the trees swaying in the wind high above him, and he smiled. He saw the river glisten and the sun twinkle like a newborn star, and it made him warm inside. He thought to himself, what a beautiful world Mother Nature has created. The atheist had walked a little further into the forest when suddenly a bear jumped out of the bushes only a few yards ahead of him and started growling and looking hungry, started to run towards him. Seeing the big bear bounding towards him, he screamed in horror and started running as fast as he could away from the bear. Now, knowing that the bear would catch up to him and he had no chance, the atheist soon ran out of breath and in a few paces fell to the ground. As the bear's shadow fell upon his face and his paws come down upon his chest, the atheist screamed, "Oh, help me, God!" Suddenly, the trees that he so much admired stopped swaying. The river he loved suddenly stopped flowing, and the sky opened up and a voice began to speak. "I am God, and even though you don't believe in me, I'm here for every being on this earth." The atheist felt relieved a little bit and asked God, "I'm sort of in this situation. I'm only asking if you can help me get out of it." God thought for a moment and said, "I will give you one wish to help you, and that is all. You may proceed with this wish." The atheist thought about this wish and for a moment, and then he spoke to God and he said, "Well, I really don't want to become a religious person, so I wish that the bear becomes religious for himself." God spoke, "So be it done." Suddenly the sky closed up, the river turned back to its flowing glory, the trees began to sway again, and the bear looked to the sky and said, "Thank you, God, for this meal I'm about to receive." It's a stupid joke, but that's what we do on this show, which means now it is time to pick a random joke from one of my old joke books. All of these are joke books that I own on the shelf back here. We're going to spin the wheel, see where it lands tonight. Let's see where we land. Tonight, we're going to use Christopher Morrow.
Ah, Chris.
You get, this is a good one, the question mark book. These aren't typical jokes. These are more like interesting one-liners and things to ponder. There are about 167 pages in this, 169 pages. Chris, just tell us a number between 1 and 169. Totally up to you. And Mitch Joseph is excited about the Wheel of Jokes, which means it's back, because last week we didn't have the Wheel of Jokes. So, Chris, any number, like I always call this the world's worst book test. Any number between 1 and 169, this is where I find out if Chris has gone to the bathroom during this section. And, of course, what I always do when we don't quickly have someone type a number, the first, so where is Matt? I don't know where Matt is. He'll be here in about 2 minutes, I believe, as soon as we tell this joke. 42. Thank you, Josh. I said
You're
thank you.
joshing me.
Thank you, Josh. Page 42. 42 is... Okay, this is really bad. This is dumb. Okay, I didn't even do the joke yet. Does a blind tourist use a sightseeing eye dog? They can't all be winners. Usually they are not. Let's get to a story from a guest. Tonight's guest is a well-known speaker, internet personality, author, and atheist activist. He has debated the top theologians and talking heads in the realm of religion, has racked up millions of views with his videos. He regularly appears as a host of the Atheist Experience call-in web show. Please welcome my friend, Matt Dillahunty. What is going on, Matt Dillahunty? Good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you?
I am fantastic. You and I both got the shot today.
We did. Number 2.
Yeah, number 2 for me. You got it before I did. So that's why actually your audio and video is so clear, because we're both running 5G.
I was in bed sick for 2 days. I got the shot. I feel better. Everything's running great.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We've got a strong connection here. I'm just reading the let's see. Happy 420 says the real Jacob to you. So that's really cool.
I woke up and saw Willie Nelson trending on Twitter, and I was in panic for just a second. And then I remembered what day it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he gets at least one day a year. No matter, he doesn't have to even get out of bed, and he gets one day a year on Twitter. Which is always nice. Doesn't that suck? Like the first thing we think whenever we see a person's name trending on Twitter is death. That's like the first.
It is for older people. I mean,
yeah, I guess there's an age.
If I'd seen, like, I don't know, name somebody young. I don't follow anybody young. So
yeah.
If I saw Ariana Grande trending, I wouldn't think, oh my God, did she die?
You wouldn't be like, maybe she got hit by a bus.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to tell a quick story for our viewers. So I am a professed atheist, and whenever I became an atheist, which was when I was born, but when I realized later in life that I wasn't into religion, I started a blog, and it was for a while it was a very popular atheist blog, and we're talking 2005, probably 2003, 2005, somewhere in there. And whenever I saw you came to one of my shows in Austin, and I think it was my second or third time meeting you in person, but I was telling you and our friend CJ about this blog, and you looked at me and you go, wait, that was you? And I just about shit my pants, and you were fucking with me because you knew that I would freak out at the Matt Dillahunty, knowing what my my little measly atheist blog was. And I seriously was like, I got hot. And then you just started laughing, and CJ was like over there rolling on the ground laughing. Yeah. So thanks for that.
we met the first time in Ohio through Brushwood, because Brian and I were there at the Secular Student Alliance convention, and we all went out and you were talking to him about the book test. That was the first time we met. Yeah,
I had just got the book test, and he was giving me pointers on it. And you had a pink beard at the time, I believe.
I did. I raised about $10,000 to send kids to summer camp, and I said if my team won, I would dye my beard pink.
Oh, that's amazing. How long did you keep it that way?
Well, not long. It eventually went back to its normal white. But I did it again on 2 different occasions, just for fun. Like right after I got divorced, I was like, screw it. I'm pink beard. Why not? That's my new trademark.
Yeah. That's like when, people cut all their hair off, you just go pink beard instead.
Talking about me fucking with you. I have a mutual friend that I've known for, not mutual with us. So Penn Jillette and I have a mutual friend that we've known for ages, and I didn't know that my friend knew him. And so I was over at my friend's house, and he's like, oh yeah, I've worked with Penn many times. And I was like, well, I'm going to see him, in a week at this, it was at PastaCon. And so Penn's at dinner, and Emery and a few others are hanging around. I was like, hey, I just found out the other day, Penn, we have a mutual friend. And he goes, oh really? Who's that? And I told him the guy's name, and he goes, never heard of him. And just went right back to eating.
I hope that he does know who that person is, and I hope that was just his joke.
Yeah, no, he was completely fucking with me.
That's awesome.
I guess we're all evil that way.
That's great. Jim Barrows and Shannon MC both say hello. Thank you for joining the show, you all, and please feel free to come back anytime. You are welcome here. Matt, I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us a story, my friend.
Well, once upon a time when I was a wee little Matt, about 12 or so. By the way, I try to think of a story that happened later, but literally nothing funny or any amusing has happened to me since I was 12. So here we go.
Okay.
My dad worked for the airline, TWA. And while we were not particularly wealthy, we did get to go on vacation sometimes because we flew for free. And I was all excited. I think we were heading to either Disney World or something. And I get on the plane. And I don't have to sit with mom and dad and my little brother because there's not enough room in the row. I get to sit up in a row pretty much by myself. And I've got my tray table out, and I'm sitting there practicing card tricks. I'm just, let me practice and practice and practice and practice and whatever else I can do. And I notice that there's some rather large guys getting on the plane. And the first few I didn't recognize. And then I realized, holy shit, I'm on a plane with WWF wrestlers.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And I look, and Macho Man and Elizabeth walk past me, and they
What?
go and they sit down a little bit behind. And I'm in basically the front row by the bulkhead doing card tricks. And directly across the aisle from me is a wrestler who used to go by the name of Outback Jack. If anybody knows him, I don't know if he remembers this. It'd be good to catch up. But I'm just a kid, and I don't know how much I know about magic or how good I am, because in the back of your head, you're like, yeah, I've been fooling my friends and my family and other stuff, but I haven't like done a show, or, you know, I can fool people at school. But when there's an adult sitting across from you on a plane, and out of the blue, he reaches over and he goes, "Hey kid, do that again." And I was like, yes. And I'm doing like, you know, Paul Harris, Bizarre Twist and a bunch of stuff then. And I'm just showing him, and he's like freaking out, and he's, you know, pointing at some of the other wrestlers to, you know, and then of course we got seatbelt sign on and they can't get up, and they're like, "Oh, you should see this kid," and everything else. And I had a blast. And that's when I first realized, I mean, I knew I'd loved magic, but it was like, oh yeah, I can actually do this for adults, you know, that I don't know. And by the way, it gives a 12-year-old an incredible sense of superiority over the adults because, you know, usually you're in complete deference, but now I can fool you.
Yeah.
And so the plane lands, and I wait patiently for a couple people to get off, because Macho and Elizabeth were just sitting there, like 3 rows behind me on the other side. And I got up, and I was nervous as hell. And for some reason, Outback Jack didn't make me nervous, but Macho did. And he had just done a bout with Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
And so I went and I got in the aisle right in front of him, and I, you know, was looking over the chair to where he was, and I put out my hand, and I was like, "Aren't you the Macho Man, Ricky Savage?"
Oh no.
And Mach goes, "No, aren't you glad you didn't shake my hand?" And he got up and walked off. And I think I was about to cry. And Elizabeth reaches out and put her hand on my shoulder, and she goes, "Don't worry about it, honey." And she got up and walked off too.
Oh no.
So I went from the highest high of being able to fool adults to getting bitch slapped by Macho Man Savage on the plane. It was one of my favorite times.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. Did you ever wonder, like, if you met him again, what you would say if you got another shot?
I never expected to meet him again. Yeah. And now, you know, I mean, I've met Arn Anderson, and I'm, you know, friends with Ken Anderson, some other wrestlers in the business. Yeah. So now there would have actually been an opportunity, except that he's dead and Elizabeth's dead, and I don't know about Outback. But that story, like, I don't remember much from that time frame. I remember, you know, I don't know if you know, but in St. Louis, the magic shop was DeVoe's Magic Den, and the guy
on the river
the guy that worked the counter there was John Mendoza. I didn't know this as a kid, that here I am going into the magic shop, buying stuff from one of the greatest card magicians of all time.
I didn't know that either. And I went in there, but I remember it being run by like several older women when I was there. And I don't know if that was family or what that was, but I only went there once, and I'm not even sure
it could have been
anymore.
After, and it closed.
Yeah.
I loved going in there. I didn't know till years later, but you know, it's like you watch Mendoza in there, and he's, "Here, kid, here's this." And, you know, he's over there practicing his ass off, and he's just selling whatever crap he can to kids.
Yeah.
But every now and then, if he saw that you were really interested and you were wanting to study, instead of selling you whatever they were trying to shovel off that day, he'd reach over and he'd be like, "Here." So I have like first editions of all Paul Harris's books, including the Spiral Bounds, because Mendoza sold them to me when I was a little kid in St. Louis.
That's amazing.
So 2 stories.
Yeah. That's what we call a bonus story, which means we drink, but I'm not drinking alcohol tonight. I normally do on Tuesday nights, but I'm scared of, like, you know, the funk that might be impending for the next 3 days after getting the shot today. So
there we go. I got some iced tea. I'm right there with you.
By the way, next to my water here, I have this. Before the show, I opened this. This is from Christmas, and this is a bacon-flavored candy cane, which you would think would be awesome, right? And all I can say is they did not nail the bacon flavor on these. And so it's a candy cane that tastes like random meat. It is the grossest thing. So do not ever buy. This is just a public service announcement. Do not ever buy bacon flavored candy cane. Usually bacon flavored, you're fine. You're safe with it. Not candy canes. Doesn't work.
Now I'm going to order a case of them and give them out to the people that I don't like.
There you go. Yeah, you could send one to the people after a debate. Like, it's like a post-debate gift. Like, hey, this was a great debate. I'm going to send you some bacon flavored. Don't send them the bacon flavored if you're debating a Muslim, because then it's an extra level of slap them in the face.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah, that's just sort of like an asshole move. But anyone else you can send them. I don't know if it's Archie Oh, it is Archie McPhee, Josh. That is exactly what it is. It's an Archie McPhee box of bacon flavored. So Archie, keep working on it, my friend. Well, you had an awesome story, Matt. Do you have a joke for us?
So here's the thing. I don't have an original joke, and I am loath to steal jokes. So I can tell you a joke that belonged to Buddy Hackett.
Okay, perfect.
And I will edit it.
That dates pretty consistently with the rest of the book, the jokes on these shelves back here.
I guarantee you this is funnier than the one that we read earlier.
Probably is.
But so Buddy told the story on an episode of the Carson Show, and I heard it again like within the last week, and so it's fresh in my mind. There's a guy who's out duck hunting, and he's out in the woods, and he shoots at a duck and misses, and he shoots at a duck and misses. He's getting frustrated, so he inches further and further towards the edge of the woods. Finally, he sees the duck, shoots it, and the duck falls. And when it falls onto this farmer's property, hits the top of his barn, and rolls off onto the side. And now, he just jumps the fence and starts walking over towards the duck. And out of the barn comes this farmer, big old overalls out there, and stands up and says, "Hey, what are you doing on my property?" And he says, "Oh, I just shot a duck. It hit your barn. I heard it hit my barn. What are you doing on my property?" He's like, "But I came over to get the duck." "Well, maybe you don't understand. This is my property, which means it's my duck." And the guy's like, "But no, I can't. I just shot it. This is just where it fell. I just want to go pick up the duck." He's like, "Well, we'll have to settle this country style, because your duck fell on my barn in my property, and now it's mine. And if you want it, we're going to have to settle it." And the guy's like, "All right, what do we got to do?" He said, "Well, around here, we kick each other in the nuts as hard as we can, and whoever's left standing gets the duck."
Okay.
And the guy's like, "Oh my, I can't even believe this. I promised I would bring home dinner, and I shot a duck, and okay, fine, I'll do it." And the farmer goes, "All right, but I'm going first." And the guy's like, "All right." And the farmer leans back and kicks him square in the nuts as hard as he can. And the guy doubles over and just, just laying on the ground. Oh my God, it's awful. And finally he gets up, he stands up, and he goes, all right, now it's my turn." And the farmer says, "Nah, you can have the duck."
Oh man, that is fantastic. In the chat, John Lydon says we should send bacon canes to Jordan Peterson, which I think I'm okay with that plan. We can do that. So we've got a story. We've had a joke. Do you have a trick for us?
I can. This is also one I didn't invent. I don't have that many I invented. By the way, for anybody who hasn't seen Michael perform, some of my fans who might have shown up to see this, you must go see it. And there's not a person on the planet who I'd rather watch do the bottles than Michael.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I don't do as much close-up stuff as I used to, but I love doing rubber band tricks. And a friend, a mutual acquaintance of ours, who's an asshole, so I won't mention because I love him, but he's an ass. Doesn't like rubber band tricks because he's always seeing these guys with like, here, and I do this. I walk around with a whole bunch of rubber bands on my wrist. And I just say, okay, they're rainbow colored, and I'm supporting LGBT stuff. And then I always have an excuse. But he's like, "Oh, look like you're ready." So a friend of mine taught me this. I believe this is one of Joe Reinfleisch's, but sometimes in the process of working on tricks, you break a rubber band, and there's nothing you can do with it at this point. You can pretend to put it back together just by holding the ends. But I mean, we all learned that when we were kids. There's lots of stuff you can do with a cool rubber band. But if you want to make it usable again, then the best thing you can do is tie a knot. Now, once you've tied a knot, and I've tried to get as close as I can on here, you could wrap this around a deck of cards, and the only problem is that it's ugly where that knot is. If you take that knot and pull it off the rubber band, you now have a functional rubber band. And if anybody doesn't believe it, you can just grab the knot, put it on right in the middle in front of people, and hand them that rubber band.
That is so nice.
And I just absolutely love that. It fools me while I'm doing it.
So good. I don't know if you realize it, but you have just hit the joke story trick trifecta.
Yeah!
And what that means, Matt, is that you win nothing. However, your name does get placed into perpetuity in the credits of this show, which in this case, perpetuity equals 2 weeks because the show is over after the next two guests. So I know I've done, this is episode 58, and I started these as a 3-minute short series that when I had time, I would do joke, story, trick. And it was just me telling a joke, me telling a story, me doing a trick. And then when the pandemic started, I turned this into a live stream talk show, basically, started inviting guests on. And that was, so there were 15 of that first 3-minute series, and there have been 45 of these. So it'll be 60 episodes total.
That's outstanding.
Then, thank you. Yeah. And then to watch all of them, they'll all be on Patreon in 3 weeks. So all of that said, let's get to our next segment called What the Shit Is This? I had trouble deciding what I wanted to use for this because I thought that I maybe wanted to use like a debate moment where you ended up looking amazing and some person you were debating ended up looking like an idiot, which is not hard to find. There's a lot of those moments. And I wanted to use Jordan Peterson, but there were no moments that you can take out of his speech and his whole Gish Gallop type of talking that form any sort of soundbite at all, because everything he says is 6 minutes of nonsense. And so I ended up with another person, and this is Cy. What's his name? You're gonna have to help me out. Cy 10 Bruggencate. Yeah. Trying to take something you said and turn it into like one of the worst metaphors I've ever heard in my life. Let's listen.
Matt agrees that his view on logic is a result of the chemical reaction in his brain. I mean, would you come here today and listen to a debate? It was a bottle of Dr. Pepper arguing against a bottle of Mountain Dew. You shake them up and you open them and they start to fizz. Which of those fizzes would be true? Neither. It's just fizz. If Matt's worldview is true, then our thoughts are the byproduct of the chemical reactions in our evolved brains. It's brain barf. He would be fizzing atheistically, I'm fizzing theistically. And you want to know which one of those is true? Matt agrees.
Unbelievable.
I like that whoever edited that made me the Mountain Dew, because of the two of them, I prefer Mountain Dew. So.
There you go. Yeah, and it's probably someone who was, and let's look at that again. I want to see, because I did credit, so Better Off Damned is who edited that.
Matt agrees that his view
and they probably are a fan of yours and have seen you drinking Mountain Dew at some point. Tell us about this debate with Cy. There are several laughable moments with him in this debate. But that was one that I thought, what is happening here? What's he going for?
So, first of all, Cy is he's a former apologist. He's had to stop doing it because of a moral failing, and that's none of my business, and I'm not here to beat him up over it. But he is what's known as a presuppositionalist, which means they really just presuppose God as an explanation for the foundations of logic and the existence and maintenance of the universe. The thing is, if you're a presuppositionalist, you're not basing your position on evidence at all. You're just presupposing the very thing. So if you're going to have a debate with the presup, you have to point this out. My favorite parts from this debate, he did his opening 10 minutes, and there were so many clips of me. And as soon as he put up the first clip, I was like, oh shit. He's found an error in something that I've said. So I got my pen. If you watch the beginning of the debate, he starts playing a clip and I'm immediately ready to write, and I write. Yeah. And then the clip's finished and he goes on to another clip. And I was like, hang on, there wasn't anything wrong in that one. And before long, I realized he was just going to play my greatest hits and not actually point out a flaw in them. So if you watch, I set the pen down, I lean back in the chair, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing to even pay attention to.
And the clips that he's playing are clips of you saying to callers stuff like, I don't care.
Yeah.
and he'll just play like those 3 words and then move on.
Matt doesn't
say,
care.
Look, Matt doesn't care. Yeah, exactly. And it was like,
so it's a lot of fun stuff. I also, in a debate, you should take notes. And after the opening statement, if there's a rebuttal, you construct your rebuttal on the fly so that it's there. I pre-wrote my rebuttal to show how absolutely predictable Cy is, because if you presuppose God, then you're not going to be presenting evidence. There's no arguments for anything. And so I could respond to everything that he was going to say and wrote it all ahead of time.
Sure.
When he finished his 10-minute opening, David Smalley was the moderator off to the side, and David says, "Okay, Matt, now you get 10 minutes." And I said, "Didn't I just get 10 minutes?" Because he played my greatest hits.
That's really funny. You know what you should have done with your closing is turned it into a mentalism bit and put them in a sealed envelope on stage the entire time and then read from them. That would have been a great bit.
Then the next time I debate a precept, I will be doing that. It'll be the easiest prediction I've ever made.
Yeah, you could even do bullet points. You'd be like, number 1, debater is going to say, that would be so good. It'd be like a confabulation routine out of debating talking points.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
I wouldn't even have to cheat or anything.
Jesse James Miller says in the chat, I wonder if Matt remembers me jamming with him a bit at AXP and a little outside a bar downtown. LOL, probably not. You could totally pull the Pendulette here and say, no, I don't. And I won't hold it against you.
It depends. So when he says jamming, I'd have to think we were playing guitar or something, but
magic.
I don't remember doing
I think he's talking about doing magic tricks together. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That happens a lot. I actually, like, Sean Farquhar and I have been friends for years, and there's nothing I love more than winding up like the two of us in a bar or a diner, because some magicians that I'm friends with have zero interest in performing other than on stage.
Right.
Sean's like me. He won't stop.
Magic. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're riffing off each other, having fun with the waitress. Some of my favorite moments in magic had nothing to do with any sort of booking or lesson. It was just guys riffing. And so while I don't remember the specifics from Jesse James, I do remember doing that on a number of occasions. So I'm glad.
Yeah. I go back and forth between whether or not I do magic when I'm not working. And it depends on how much I've been working. Yeah. If I've been touring a ton, the last thing I want to do is do magic. But I also think it's really cool to hang out with a group of people who I know are magicians and not talk about magic, because I just really think, like, here is this one thing we have in common, but we're going to talk about all the stuff we don't have in common. Like, I want to hear about what it's like living in Austin, Texas, or what it's like, sharing stages with all of these famous people that, I that's the type of stuff I want to hear about. But
yeah. Austin's awesome. You should move here.
I know. And I have so many friends in Austin. Yeah. Texas is a thing. It's like, you go to another city in Texas and you're going to have to drive 3 hours to get there. But I've hung out and
yet somehow me and Brushwood and CJ and Cody, we all managed to be based out of here.
Yeah. And so I'm sure it's awesome because all of the people I know in Austin are awesome. So yeah, I don't know anyone in Austin that I don't like, but I only know like 5 or 6 of you. So
that's pretty good. If you knew 12 or so, you wouldn't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I use the old joke, I wasn't born in Austin, but I got here as quick as I could.
Nice. And do you stay during South by Southwest, or do you get out of town?
Well, I live like on the edge of town, out by the airport a little bit. And so when South by Southwest is going on, unless I'm part of it, I don't go near downtown.
Yeah. I would imagine it's sort of like here in Columbus, it's the Arnold is a giant fitness festival, and the town explodes. I mean, this town is right around 1 million people that live here, but it explodes to, it's the thing that keeps our town alive from tourism money, is this one thing event. And we haven't had it for 2 years now because of COVID and everything. So,
by the way, while I'm mentioning Austin magicians, Nick Lewin's also here.
Lewin? Yeah.
But Ray Anderson, who is the magician and owner at Esther's Follies, who I've been friends with for years. I can't wait for Esther's Follies to reopen. That's my favorite thing in Austin.
I've never been, and I am anxious to go. I've never just like hung out in Austin, so I do need to get down there.
Come down. You can stay in the guest room. We'll go to Esther's Follies when it reopens, and yeah.
Well, I was planning.
We're both vaccinated. I can hug you.
Yeah, right. It'll be amazing. I was planning on coming down and shooting an episode with Brian Brushwood right when we had the ticket was actually booked to come down there and film, but that's right when everything blew up last year. So I do have a Gus Davis. Rob Balchunas says Gus Davis too. We can't forget Gus, amazing dude. So yeah, I'm promise that will be a post-pandemic promise, which I'm surprised I don't have a logo and a whole graphics thing that comes in for post-pandemic promises. But in any case, man, tell people where they can find Matt Dillahunty online.
Oh, probably you can just do Linktree with my name, Linktree Matt Dillahunty, and you'll find my Facebook, you have my Twitch, but most of it's in my name. Twitch.tv is Matt Dillahunty. Facebook, the YouTube channel though is Sans Deity. The big one is patreon.com/atheist debates. And I put up 4 videos a month there where I teach I either host my debates or reviews of my debates and conversations, discussions about how to have better conversations about religion, philosophy, and things like that.
Atheist debates. So it's patreon.com/atheist debates. That sounds pretty great, man. It was so good to have you on the show. Feel free to stick around and watch the trick segment that we've got coming up next. But Matt Dillahunty, thank you for taking some time with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Absolute pleasure. I've been waiting for this for ages.
Awesome. Matt Dillahunty is awesome. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Before we get to the end, of course, you know what it is. It's my Patreon plug. So this show is kept alive from my Patreon sponsors. If you don't go and join Matt's Patreon, which you should do, patreon.com/atheist debates, you can join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And for that, you get all kinds of exclusive content, being able to watch me perform live magic shows, bonus episodes of my podcast, and unedited videos from the quick quiz we do for the podcast. If you're a fan and you want to show it, this is the best way. It's patreon.com/Michael Kent. With all of that said, let's get to the last segment of the show, the trick. For tonight's trick, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit and show you a little bit about how I choose magic tricks. When I'm choosing material for the end of this show, the amount of time, the run time of the trick is super important to me. So in this case, I'm going to show you sort of how I practice that. I want, for example, the trick to generally be under 3 minutes. And for a card trick, under 2 minutes, I think definitely. If I did a card trick and it was like 5 minutes long, that doesn't sound like a long time. I don't need the jokers. Let me get rid of it doesn't sound like a long time, but trust me, it is a really long time. So for this, I'll shoot for around 1.5 minutes. Now, in this trick, I know that I want to have 3 cards chosen, and I don't have anyone down here with me, so we'll just randomly choose some cards. It really doesn't matter what they are. We'll just have, so we've got an ace, a 2, and an 8. Perfect. Those are all different, so they'll be easy to remember. Remember these 3 cards. We have an ace, a 2, and an 8. And one by one, I'll put them back into the deck and really mix up the deck. I'll really shuffle it well. We'll use the 8, maybe we'll put it a quarter of the way down here and just sort of mix that into the middle. And then a 2 we'll put maybe in the middle, like right about there. It's good. Perfect. Got the deck a couple times. Now is the hard part of finding those cards. We'll start with the 2. Let's see if I can find the 2. Hey, that's a good way of doing it. There's the 2. The next one will be the 8. Let's see if I can find the 8. There we go. That'll work. There's the 8. And the final card is the ace. Maybe somewhere out of the middle of the deck, I can find, there it is, the ace. We've got an ace, an 8, and a 2. Here's the interesting part about this. I don't know if you noticed the time on this. It's 1:28. 1:28, which is interesting because the cards are a 1, a 2, and an 8. Which is not bad. It's a pretty cool trick. It's a pretty neat little, coincidence type of thing, I guess. But you could say, like, oh, you stopped it on that time because you knew those were the 3 cards you had, which would be tough, but I could do it. What I couldn't do, what would be impossible, is if I could get the 34. And that, folks, is what I have done. That is the show for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for Matt Dillahunty for joining us tonight. And join us next week, next Tuesday night, for Brian Brushwood. I will see you next Tuesday. Hey friends, over the years, I've had hundreds of unofficial supporters. Now, you can make it official. Join my Patreon, 4 different levels, tons of exclusive benefits, access, behind the scenes, backstage video, access to shows that you normally wouldn't get to see, producer support, credits, shout-outs, VIP events, everything you can think of. And you can join for as little as $1 a month. So thank you in advance for your support. I love all of you.